Find out why myself and SEAL Team 6 love the Vasque Juxt. Yeah, that's right, folks. We have here another shoe review, round 2 from Vasque as well. There's nothing special about Vasque. There's not something going on behind the scenes or anything like that. I just really like their shoes, and I throw down my hard-earned money multiple times on these designs. And I wanted to tell you about this Juxt design, J-U-X-T, I believe is how they pronounce it, from Vasque. Now, the cool thing for me is that I've been using these for almost a decade, long before the channel began and long before I even met my wife, Mrs. GT. And why I've carried these and why I've used these is because they're a great do-everything SUV, sport utility vehicle, sport utility shoe. This same design has gone with me to most of the missions trips and continents that I have visited. They have gone to Cambodia twice, they've gone to China, they've gone to Haiti, they've gone to Botswana, and they've gone to Israel and Jordan. So these have been all over the world with me, and that's saying something because not only am I on my feet for 8 to 10 hours a day when I go do those mission trips, but you're often helping to reconstruct and rebuild locations. When we were in Haiti, we were rebuilding stuff after the earthquake. We do a lot of harder tasks when I go do those things, and I needed something that would be durable, reliable, and comfortable. So I was really looking forward after having recently purchased my 5th pair, because these last me about 2 years each before I need to get another one. Having just recently picked this up, I said, okay, let's do a video on it. And so I was doing research, and I found out that SEAL Team 6, when they went in to take out Osama bin Laden, were wearing these Juxt shoes. I found that out on several websites, several comments. So I'm not someone that purchases something because Navy SEALs use it, but that does add an extra data point that if Navy SEALs wear them, they're probably pretty good. So I'm looking forward to breaking them down for you today, just walking you through what I see and why I have seen value in them, why I've thrown down my money 5 times over the last decade. And even as I go and try out other things from different brands, these always seem to fit that kind of do everything shoe for me, from regardless if it's to do light trekking and hiking, to doing just going to the office. They're nice enough that I can wear to most meetings and, working and doing those type of things in the office, as well as just around town. There's a level of style and performance that these shoes have to offer. The other great thing is that they're not going to be super expensive. The average going rate is about $80. I've found them as low as $65, and I've seen them as high as $100, but easily under $100, you should be able to get your hands on a pair of these Juxt from Vasque. And we're going to have links in the description below throughout this video over to Amazon and backcountry.com. Both will have these designs, and they have 2 color combinations going right now. Hopefully they'll release some others. They used to have like 4, so hopefully they'll have some more in future years, but right now they have the version that we're looking at in a lighter colored kind of gray and tan version available, so you can go check those out in those links below, because when you use those hyperlinks over to Amazon and Backcountry, it really helps us out continue to make content, buy shoes just like this and buy gear just like what you see in this video, to continue to make the reviews and make the videos that you see here week in and week out. So with that, let's go ahead and break these shoes down and see what they have to offer. All right, we're gonna hit arch support, soles, traction, all of that. And I really like Vasque's website. You can go check this stuff out if you want even more detail. I may even put in a screenshot here real quick for you, but they break down the shoe really well, and most of their shoes very well. So they have 3 parts to the design of the sole. The first one is they call their OTG, or off the grid compression molded EVA midsole. That's this midsole right here that gives you all the cushion, all the support. And I would say that this is, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say at about a 6 to 7 on its cushion, meaning that it's not like a rock, it's not like a pair of Converse, which I'd put like at a 2, or like dress shoes, 2 or a 3. It's better than a lot of other, kind of these crossover trail running, hiking, type of shoes, but it's not like mind-blowing. They're like you're walking on pillows. So it's good enough that I can wear these for about 8 hours on my feet, which is what my job requires of me sometimes. I have no problem with that without any sort of insoles or anything like that. So that it's a good level of cushion. Then up next, we have the TPU heel arch stability. That's all the orange that you see in here. that gives you really good stability and arch support. I don't supinate or pronate too badly on either side. That's when your foot wears inward or outward. I used to work at a shoe store for 3 years, so hopefully I know at least some of these details when I'm giving these things to you guys. So I have a pretty straight stride, and I have seen that the arch support is good on this. I don't have really super high arches, and I don't have flat feet either, but it does have some good arch support in there and just good stability. I don't feel like it's rolling. When I have had shoes that don't have a lot of support, then I will see more roll in my shoes and wearing on certain sides, either on the inside or outside of the heel, depending on how the shoe was built. These wear evenly for me because of that arch support and stability system. That's that orange part that you see in there. And finally, they have their OGT, again, off the grid rubberized outsole, and it's got good traction on there. Kind of an indent there on the heel. Good heavy amount of traction right there. And now these are relatively new, and this is where I'll get to my personal experience and how long I've had these, obviously, like I've said, for quite a long period of time. And what I would usually do is after that first pair wore out, which took about 2 years of wearing them between 3 and 5 days a week, I would wear them every day to the office. I would do hiking with them. Obviously, I went around the world and trekking all over Kingdom Come with them, and the traction held up very well. I didn't have any sort of issue with that. Then eventually there was a season where I was carrying had 2 pairs at one time that I would rotate through, and they were basically my go-to pairs of shoes most days of the week. And those easily lasted about 2 years before I felt like some of the cushion had worn out in the midsole and just, they were starting to wear out after 2 years. I mean, if a shoe can solidly being worn majority of the time last me 2 years, I'm super happy with that. Now, we'll talk about in a little bit later just some feedback, some negative comments that I read, so that you guys can just have a good frame of reference. For me, the outsole and the traction has held up very well without any sort of wearing. It doesn't wear out super quick, and it's very good for what I have seen. And the traction for most environments. The only environment that I haven't seen it work super well is if it's like super icy or super slick conditions, and maybe you're scaling rocks or those type of things. They may tend to slip a little bit more than certain other grips out there, but for everyday hiking, trekking, and even through snow and different things like that, no issue whatsoever. Okay, so some other aspects to these shoes here is that the entire upper is all suede leather. That's nice because the durability is insane. Now, it cuts down a little bit on breathability, but I tend to sweat a lot, and so shoes that are like waterproof oftentimes don't work very well for me in the summertime, and they might be like stink problems and things like that. These don't cause any sort of over sweating, and they don't smell, so that's a really good positive. Really nice, different color combinations throughout, good stitching. Really well done. I never had any stitching blowing out on me. And again, this is like pair 5 in my life. Nothing, no issues. And then you do have just a little bit of a man-made material right up here, just for, I guess, some support around the back side right there. Otherwise, all suede. Even the tongue is suede right in here. And then you do have this rubber. I really like this nice rubber toe. I really like that a lot. Gives you a lot of rigidity and really good support, and doesn't want to peel. I've never had these sort of peel apart or the glue quit on me, or anything like that. So the toe was a big selling point for me as well. It gives you almost the feel of like the front end of a steel toe, even though it's just rubber, which is pretty sweet. And then some other aspects just to go through, then you got that kind of breathable mesh on the inside. The insole is removable, so that's easy if you need insoles for yourself or want to upgrade the cushion or whatever, totally doable. And then a lot of lacing options here, so the lacing is very adjustable. I really like the leather, the suede, and then that rubberized toe and all the options that it gives you. Now, these guys are going to come in at 1 pound 13 ounces, so that's also a great weight. That the durability that I've seen with these, and the leather and rubber and good feel that these give you without them being super overbuilt, and you're just like, oh my gosh, these weigh like 2.5 pounds, and you're just clunking all over the place. These feel very nimble on your feet, that you can run with them, you can jog with them if you have to. They're not jogging shoes, and I wouldn't go trail running in them either, but they are lighter than a lot of other kind of crossover shoes out there, and I really like how they have done that well. Now, I want to take a real quick break just to remind you of our other 2 affiliates, Blade HQ, great place to purchase all sorts of different knives, fixed blades, hatchets, pocket knives, multi-tools, flashlights, the whole 9 yards. Links below over to Blade HQ, as well as Knockaround Sunglass Company. Great sunglasses for the entire family, and we love using them over here at the channel. So when you use all of the hyperlinks provided in the description below, helps us continue to make content here. It's free for you, and we are able to purchase gear, go out there week in, week out, and make the content that you see here. So thank you for your continued support. Okay, so as you heard me say a little earlier, that there were some comments that I just wanted to share with you that were from reviews and other feedback, because I think I am going to get into more reviewing of shoes and footwear, and so I'm trying to learn as much as I can to give you guys as many good data points as I can. So I was doing a bunch of research, going on a bunch of websites. That's where I discovered that SEAL Team 6 wore these when they were going in and took out Osama bin Laden. On a couple sites is where I discovered that. But on several shoe reviewing sites I was looking at, on Vast website themselves, lots and lots of reviews out there, because these have been around a long time and they seem to be very popular. Several shoe websites I went to that review shoes gave this a score of 91 out of 100, and other places were giving it about 4.2 out of 5, and I would absolutely agree with that rating system. Definitely in the high 80s or 90 percentile of 100% likability is where I would absolutely put these shoes, because I've had so many pairs, purchased all of them, and swear by them. I mean, I love them, and very few things that I like to tweak, maybe just a hair more cushion and some more color combinations, and that's really about it. And possibly like a summer wear, like a ventilated version, would be pretty sweet for those people who love everything about the shoe, but in summertime may find it just slightly too hot with the leather and all that. Then that would be an awesome option as well. Now, the two major complaints that I read in the reviewing process was that some people complained that they were slick in wet conditions, and I haven't had a ton of use here in the Rocky Mountains. We don't have a ton of like rain. I mean, walking around town and like hiking and trekking on trails and stuff, zero issue. Maybe if you're like scrambling on rocks, maybe it's not quite as grippy as some other ones out there, but that is something on the bottom sole traction. The way the traction is designed was a complaint of some, so that just keep that in consideration. I just wanted to give you that feedback. I have not personally seen that, but that was something I read. There was a good enough amount of comments to bring that up. The other one was that some people complained about that the rear sole would wear out back here on these traction teeth and stuff very quickly. As I said earlier, have never seen that. These things have held up for 2 years on average. I'll buy a new pair every 2 years. That's the going rate. And if I can get a shoe of this size, this price, this design to last me 2 years before any of the traction starts going out, and the traction was not really even going out. I mean, it had been worn down some, but it was not like gone by any means. So, and never like the rubber pulling up, the outer sole pulling up or anything like that. So that's just feedback. Some people complain about that. Maybe if you have really bad like supernating or pronating, that it might wear out a little faster than others, but I had zero issue with mine. 5 pairs that I've had over the last almost decade. And then finally, some people complaining about narrow feet and that they weren't wide enough. Now, I have normal size feet. I don't purchase wides. Nikes over the years have tended to be a little too narrow for me. And on the other flip side, like Keens, that have the really large toe box, are too big for me. So I would consider myself to have a medium-sized foot, and it never has felt too narrow or too tight on the sides for me. It's a perfect fit for my feet of being about medium, width. So if you tend to find that you need bigger toe boxes, and wider toe boxes, maybe this will be too difficult for you and won't work. If you're kind of on the fence, obviously just pick them up from somewhere. Either Amazon Wardrobe now has great return policies, backcountry.com has great return policies, or go to a store and find them and have them ship them in or something and try them on if need be. But for me, being somebody who has just normal, in my opinion, width feet, they work great. They're not too narrow by any means. Well, folks, there you have it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative, giving you some food for thought, and pointed you in the right direction for a possible kind of do-everything multi-use shoe. And I gotta tell you, it's been about 2 years since I've had one of these in the collection, because I just purchased other stuff and there wasn't a need for it for a while. But now, having recently picked one of these up again, I am so glad, and it has reminded me the amazing value to performance, to style that these shoes offer you. And hey, again, if SEAL Team 6 can rock them in when they're taking care of Osama bin Laden, they're probably going to be worth taking a look at. So thank you guys so much, as always, for coming over here and checking out the channel. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, throwing up videos there all the time, and just content. You can see stuff going on. Don't forget about the mailbag. Put hashtag mailbag and ask a question. You might see it in an upcoming video. And don't forget about the Saturday Gideon's Tactical Show, completely different than the reviews that we put in and produce here. And finally, guys, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.